can always jump dead batteries as long as you are using 12 volts.
This video brings up a concept that I've been meaning to share with you guys for quite some time. If you need to jumpstart a PowerStroke 6.0 or a 7.3 or really any diesel with glow plugs, right? Recognize that the glow plugs very commonly stay on for a period of time after ignition. Your batteries are dead. If they weren't dead, you wouldn't have to jump the truck, now would you? So what a lot of guys will mistakenly do is they'll hook up their gajillion amp jump pack or their gajillion amp, they'll hook it up to another truck's charging system with Bama Jamma 1/aught or better jumper cables. And by the way, if you're using 8-gauge jumper cables, please stop it. Buy some real ones. In fact, we might just start selling real ones because it could be easier. But go ahead and hook up the jumper cables and wait for a little bit. Allow some of those electrons to transfer into the batteries before you just hook it up and turn the key. Hook it up, wait a little bit, and how long? I don't know. How long do you got, right? Recognize that alternators are not battery chargers. That's not what they're intended to be. And so when the truck does start, that alternator or those alternators are going to be spending their little life trying to get this thing to go ahead and go. And so it doesn't have the duty cycle to recharge 2 group size 65 batteries from dead, which is why a whole lot of folks end up killing their alternator following a jump start. Now, in addition to that, think about the amperage draw that exists right after the truck starts. In the case of a PowerStroke 6.0, it's a 230 amp combined draw. Well, your stock alternator only does 75 amps at cold idle. So it's like, your truck started and that's great, and you instantly remove the jumper cables and now your truck dies a couple of seconds later. And what the heck happened? Well, you're operating at such a deficit that the truck just can't stay running, not to mention you pissed the crap out of your fuel injection control module. So why would you do this to yourself? So step 1, hook up the jumper cables. If you've only got one source of power, hook it up to the passenger side battery or whatever battery is the one that's closest connected to the starter. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, leave it connected for a few minutes before you go ahead and actually try to start the truck. Recognize that the key on, engine off amp draw, it's 160 amps. That's kind of a lot. Then it's a 1350 amp or so inrush current to get the starter to begin spinning, and then 300 amps to keep it spinning. So you want to be able to real-time transfer some serious electrons. Okay, great. But then this is the mistake that so many people make. The truck started, they disconnect the jumper cables. Please don't do that. Hopefully you're running monitoring gauges, and if you are, great. You can actually watch your voltage and see what's going on. So you don't want to disconnect until you're back at the 13.5s and 14s that you normally charge at, because probably you're going to start the truck and you're going to be sitting there hanging out at 12 volts or whatever. And so you want to give those batteries every opportunity to be better than they possibly could be. So leave the jumper cables hooked up until such time as the glow plugs shut off minimally, and then allow the hopefully you don't have that long of a drive and you can get back to a regular battery charger and hook up and stay hooked up, because the battery charger obviously has the duty cycle for this, but your jumper cables are just a band-aid to get you going in an emergency kind of situation. So recognize it takes just as long to recharge a set of group size 65s. Really, it takes just as long to recharge a set of lead acids from dead to 80% as it does from 80 to 100%. Now, in the case of AGM style batteries like this Odyssey here, AGMs will accept a faster rate of charge, but you're going to be drawing your alternator down into its knees trying to get those batteries to be back online. So if you've got the time, if you can make yourself to have the time, sure, hook up the battery charger, let it sit there for a couple minutes, go key on, engine off, wait to start light to shut off. Okay, fine. Engage the starter, get the thing to start. After it starts, leave the battery charger cables hooked up, and leave them hooked up until at least such time as you see 13.5 volts or so. Now, if you don't have, monitoring gauges, what are you doing? But if you don't, fine, just wait every bit of 2 minutes. after the truck starts, and then go ahead and pull off your battery cables, and you'll minimize at least the chances of killing your FICM, and you'll also make your batteries just way happier with you. But recognize they're pissed off just because they were killed anyway. The number one way to shorten the life of batteries is to go ahead and have them get drawn down. And so if you let your batteries die, you've caused irreparable damage to your batteries. Just recognize that. Anytime that they draw below 60% state of charge, there's no bringing them back to how they used to be, at least not 100% to where they used to be. So minimize that if you can, but if you're in a jam, you're in a jam. What do? Make the best of the situation and move on, and don't have to become my customer for the FICM. All right? FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. Thanks, guys.